Good morning everyone, and welcome to this topic, which is demand and supply. And first we are going to look at the definition of terms. First we are going to look at demand. And demand refers to the quantity of a good and service that consumers are willing and able to purchase at various prices during a given period. The concept of demand is always based on the desire to buy goods and services and the ability to pay for them. After that, we are going to look at factors that influence demand in economics. So the first factor we are going to look at, and this is the price of goods. And so the price of goods is a factor in that it generally as the price of a good increases, the quantity demanded decreases, and vice versa. Also, this is the basic principle of the law of demand. The next point is income of consumers, and under this we are going to explain that higher income usually increases the demand for goods and services as people have more purchasing power. Conversely, lower income can reduce demand. The next point is prices of related goods. Under this, we have both substitutes and complements. Under substitutes, if the price of a substitute good rises, the demand for the original good may increase. For example, if the price of tea increases, people might buy more coffee. Under the complements, if the price of a complementary good falls, the demand for the related good may increase. For example, a decrease in the price of printers may increase the demand for ink cartridges. The next point we are going to look at is the consumer preference and taste. Under this, changes in consumer preferences can significantly affect demand. For instance, if a new health trend promotes a particular food, its demand may rise. The other point is expectation of future prices, whereby if consumers expect prices to rise in the future, they may buy more now, increasing current demand. Conversely, if they expect prices to fall, they may delay purchases. The next point we are going to look at is the population and demographics, whereby an increase in population or changes in demographics, for example, the aging population, can affect the overall demand for certain goods and services. The next point is advertising and marketing, whereby effective advertising can increase demand by making more people aware of a product and persuading them of its benefits. The last point is seasonal factors, whereby certain goods have seasonal demand. For example, there is demand for warm clothing, e.g. jumpers, whereby it increases during winter. And finally, these factors can cause shifts in the demand curve, either to the right due to increase in demand or to the left due to decrease in demand, depending on the nature of the change. The next subtopic we are going to cover is supply, whereby we are going to define supply as it refers to the total amount of a specific good or service that is available to consumers. It is a fundamental concept in economics that describes how much of a product producers are willing and able to sell at different prices. Next, we are going to look at the law of supply, whereby it's a principle that states that all else being equal, an increase in the price of goods will result in an increase in the quantity supplied. Conversely, a decrease in prices will lead to a decrease in quantity supplied. Lastly, we are going to look at the supply curve under the definition of terms, whereby It's a graphical representation of a relationship between the price of a good and the quantity supplied. It typically slopes upwards, indicating that higher prices incentivize producers to supply more. Next, we are going to look at the factors that influence supply in economics. We have around 4 points. The first point is production cost, or the cost of production, whereby increased production cost can reduce supply as they make it less profitable for producers to produce goods. The next point is technology, whereby advances in technology can increase supply by making production more efficient. The next point is number of sellers in the markets, whereby more sellers in the market generally increase the supply of a good. Last point is expectation of increase in higher prices in future, in that if producers expect higher future prices, they might reduce current supply to sell more in the future. Next, we are going to look at the market equilibrium, which states that supply is closely linked with demand. The point where the supply and demand curves intersect is known as the market equilibrium, which determines the market price and the quantity of goods sold. So that is the end of our discussion of the supply and demand, whereby we have looked at the definition of terms, demand and supply. We have looked at the factors that influence both supply and demand, and lastly we have looked at the market equilibrium. Thank you, and I hope you have enjoyed the session.